Screw the process. The only thing that matters is the result. Okay, all right. So when I say screw the process, I don't mean that, totally screw the process. No one cares about the process. The process is important. There's a lot to learn in the process. But so many of us get so happy in the process of learning that we take our eyes off the final prize, the result, the big win, the finish line, because it's okay if we just go through the process and participate. Screw that. Screw that. That's not what we're here for. We're here to win. And in order to win, as we've studied other winners, in order to win, one of the key traits that they all share is being resilient. And so we've been talking about resilience for a few weeks, and we looked at the resilience and the definition of resilience as the tiny, unglamorous choices and decisions that you make when things get heavy, confusing, or frustrating. Those are the things that it takes, right? That's what it means to be resilient, rather. That's what it means to be resilient. And as I've been looking at this concept of resilience and studying people who have been resilient and who have won on some of the largest stages and even some of the smallest stages, I've come to realize through reading books by Tim Grover and Cameron Haynes that there are really 6 principles, and we've gone through the first 3 so far. Embrace chosen suffering was the first one. Becoming a cleaner and creating opportunities was number 2. Discipline is the only talent was number 3. And we did a video on each one of those. And now let's dive into this one. You've got to be addicted to the result. This is principle number 4. Be addicted to the result, not the process. There are too many of us who get addicted to the process, who want to go get another degree, who want to go out and get another piece of validation, who want to go and screw all that. Get to the end. There's an opportunity that you're creating. Go create it. Fight to get to the result. Everyone should know the result of where you're going. Everyone should feel the result of where you're going. Get to the result. Let that be the thing that consumes you, not the process. Because look, let's talk about the process. The process is going to be hard. You're going to put yourself through some stuff through the process, and that's fine. That's fine. But when those hardships come, when those obstacles come, when those challenges come, heck, whether they were things that you chose yourself to put yourself through or things that life threw at you, no matter which way they come to you, even when the victories in the process come, because there are minor victories, there are milestone victories along the way. Even when those come in the process, they can knock you off course. Oh man, that was hard. I'm so glad I got through that. Whew, got through. Let me take a rest. Let me take a break. Whew. Have you gotten to the finish line yet? Have you gotten to the result yet? Oh man, we had this big win. You see this all the time, right? let's be real. Are you sitting in a place where you will say, if I just had one more client, or I got a client and I've got some work in and the company is growing, but man, I don't have time to go out and do business development. I don't have time to go out and get more clients. Yeah. What was the result? What was the result? The result wasn't to get a few clients in and get so busy that you can't go get more. That wasn't the result you were after when you started. But you see, we got stuck in the process. We got addicted to the process and not the result. You see, because when we get addicted to the result, we keep the main thing the main thing. We understand that there's a lot that needs to get done, but we understand that we got to keep the main thing the main thing. And the main thing is whatever gets us to that result. We got to keep working towards it. Now, I'm not saying that you don't smell the roses along the way. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying you put a damn time limit on smelling those roses. Okay? One of the things that I love when you hear stories about Kobe, you hear these stories about Kobe and you hear that Kobe would, they would have a big game, they would have a big win, and the other teammates would go out and they would go to the club or they would go partying, and Kobe would go to the gym. And when you listen to Tim Grover talk, and Tim was always there in those gym times with Kobe, what they would do is they would, on the way to the gym, they would watch the film. And Kobe would obsess over everything that went wrong and understanding why it went wrong. What happened? What was the rotation of the ball? Where was my foot placement? He obsessed over the things that went right so he could figure out how to duplicate them. And then they would get to the gym and then they would work on fixing all the things that went wrong, recreating the situation and then fixing them so that the next time it came up, he wouldn't be in that same position. You see, because he knew his result was the championship. His result wasn't this game. His result was the championship. I forget his quote exactly right now, but there was a series that they were playing, and the Lakers were up in the final series, and a reporter asked him about how he felt about being up. I think they were up 2-0 or something, and the scene was shifting to the other team's arena, and he's like, how do you feel about that? You feeling good and confident about that? And Kobe was like, his response was, job not done. Like, we need 4 wins. I don't give a damn about 2. That's the process. We need 4 wins. Holla at me after 4. You see, because that's the result. And we've got to become addicted to our result. What is the result that you're after? But here's the challenge. And I know this for me. I know this for me because I love to work. I'm not going to call myself a workaholic, okay? Because I enjoy what I love to work. I love to think and I love to create. I love to work. But for a lot of time, I didn't have a result in mind. It was just, let's just work. As long as we were working, things were good. I didn't have a result in mind. I remember a few years ago, having a conversation with a friend and a mentor, Amara, and we were talking about my quarterly plans for the company, my quarterly goals for the company, and she said to me when I was done, she said, that all sounds fantastic, but there isn't a financial number anywhere in that. What is the financial goal that you plan to hit by the end? And I was dumbfounded because I didn't have one. I was just like, we're just going to work and the money will work out. And she said, no, you got to have a result. And I'm not saying it's always got to be it's not about the money per se. That's just my example. But you got to have a result that you're working towards. And I'm not talking about SMART goals either, because you can have SMART goals that still aren't the ultimate result that you're after. So what's your result? And how do you become addicted to it? You gotta be addicted to it. It's gotta consume you in everything. That result, that's what you're fighting for. Because you see, when you're there and you're fighting for that result and you know that that's where you're going, it was interesting because I heard Tim Grover say this in one of his books. He said, talking with Kobe and all these other greats and Michael and so on and so forth, it wasn't that they didn't get butterflies. It wasn't that they didn't get nervous. Right? Like they knew that this game, they may have been up 3-2 in a series, and this game is game number 4, and this is the game that gets them to the result. It's not that they're not nervous in those moments, not that they don't have butterflies in those moments, but it's that they were able to get all of those butterflies to align and fly in the same direction, not fluttering all around and creating chaos like butterflies often do, but aligned and flying in the same direction. You see, because when we can get our own butterflies, because we are going to be nervous. Look, that result, it's going to scare you. I know that. But when you can align your butterflies and get them flying in the same direction, it allows your actions to become easier. It allows your actions to become clearer, and it allows you to communicate to your team around you in a way that you never even knew you could communicate, and get them to align their own butterflies with your own butterflies, and all of you going in the same direction. That's what it means to be addicted to the result. Become addicted to your results.